We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Ontario goes to lockdown. Health Canada takes further action to confirm benefit-risk profile of the AstraZeneca vaccine. COVID update in Toronto. AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine deployment continues in BC despite health concerns. British Columbia recorded its highest single-day number of COVID-19 cases to date. Joint Canada and U.S. statement to fight climate change and better protect the environment. And excited New Yorkers return to the Yankee Stadium. Hello everyone, you're watching Eagle News Canada. I'm Kat Joy reporting in from Calgary, Alberta, bringing you stories from across the globe. "28 days. That's how long Canada's Ontario province's lockdown will be as it refuses to be overwhelmed by the COVID third wave. Eagle News correspondent Thomas Leikness reports.
Effective Saturday, April the 3rd at 12:01 a.m., Ontario will pull the emergency brake for the entire province.
And with that, Ontario Premier Doug Ford announced a 4-week lockdown in an effort to get a third wave of the pandemic under control. A third wave, he says, is caused by variants of the vaccine.
This is a new pandemic. We're now fighting a new enemy. The new variants are far more dangerous than before.
Under the new restrictions, which go into effect Saturday, all indoor and outdoor dining is prohibited. Indoor gatherings will not be allowed, and outdoor gatherings will be limited to 5 people. Worship services are allowed, but attendance cannot exceed 15% of the capacity of the venue. All personal services, such as hair and nail salons, must close down. Essential retail stores can operate at 50% capacity, non-essential retail limited to 25%. Schools will remain open, but will be monitored closely for outbreaks. Ford admits this is going to be tough on people.
I know the toll these restrictions continue to take on people's mental health and well-being. And please understand, folks, this decision weighs extremely heavy on me. I know what this means for people to be here over a year into this pandemic. It's frustrating and it's very, very difficult. But we've come so far. We have sacrificed too much to throw in the towel so close to things getting better.
He says the province has to act now because the cost of doing nothing is too high. Ford says, unlike previous outbreaks, this one seems to be targeting young people.
Younger people are ending up in the hospital. And with these new variants, the risk of ICU admissions is 2 times higher. The risk of death is 1.5 times higher.
With the upcoming holiday weekend, the Premier is hoping people stay home. Ford is pleading with people to be vigilant and not to gather. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Leikness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
As the information in regards to the AstraZeneca vaccine continues to evolve, Health Canada is taking further action to confirm the benefit risk of this vaccine. Eagle News correspondent André Lejoie with more information.
Health Canada is taking further action to confirm the benefit-risk profile of the AstraZeneca vaccine. As part of the Health Canada continuing commitment to openness and transparency of all information relating to COVID-19 vaccine, the department is updating Canadians on new action it has taken. To date, no cases of those events have been reported in Canada. However, through our ongoing international collaboration, Health Canada has become aware of the additional cases of those events that have been reported in Europe. In light of those evolving information, Health Canada will be assuring additional terms and conditions of the authorization of the AstraZeneca and a variety pharmaceutical Serum Institute of India vaccine. Those will include a requirement that the manufacturer conduct a detailed assessment of the benefit and risk of the vaccine by age and sex in the Canadian context. This information will support the ongoing evaluation of those rare blood clotting events and allow Health Canada to determine if a rare and specific group of people who may be in higher risk. Health Canada has been in discussion with AstraZeneca on the evolving issues. Health Canada will assess this information when it received and will determine if the additional regularity of action are necessary. Health Canada will continue to work and collaborate with the international counterparts to collect and assess the information. Reporting from Ottawa, Canada, this is André Lajoie. We live in interesting times.
As COVID cases continue to rise, Eagle News correspondent Yolanda Aspiras gives us the updates on what's happening in Ontario.
For 7 days straight, Ontario has seen COVID-19 cases upwards to 2,000. On Wednesday, Ontario has reported about 2,300 new cases of COVID-19, with 785 cases in Toronto, 433 in Peel, and 222 in York Region. The highest reported cases this week was last Saturday with over 2,400 cases, which also marked the highest single-day increase since January of this year. What's equally alarming as the recent spike in COVID numbers is the number of patients with COVID-related critical illness being admitted in the ICU. On Wednesday, 421 patients have been admitted in the ICU, the highest number of COVID ICU patients within the day since the pandemic began last year. 252 patients are also in the ICU on a ventilator. Toronto Public Health also reported Monday that more schools have been recommended for temporary dismissal and closures due to COVID-19 investigations. As of Wednesday, there are 63 schools currently closed due to COVID-19. More than 200 of the reported daily cases are school-related. In regards to the new COVID-19 variants of concern, over 1,800 of the new cases Wednesday are of the B117 variant. As of Tuesday, the province has administered more 2 million vaccine doses, with about 315,000 people fully vaccinated with both doses. Premier Dogford responds to questions into possibly applying more stringent measures because of this alarming spike in COVID-19 numbers. Take a listen.
Nothing's more important than our health. You know, the economy, yes, it's important, but that can wait. Without people's health, we won't have an economy. So everything's on the table, and I'll be out over the next couple of days. But please, I'm asking folks, don't make big, huge plans with family members. That's where the problems start. So that's my request.
In Toronto, Yolanda Aspiras, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Despite health concerns, people aged 55 to 65 can now receive the AstraZeneca COVID vaccines in multiple pharmacies in BC. Eagle News correspondent Kathleen Cruz with the details.
British Columbia has announced that people under the age of 55 to 65 years old can now receive the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine at more than 150 local pharmacies, despite public health concerns. Frontline workers also remain to be the priority to receive the vaccine. However, BC health officials are still waiting on Health Canada's recommendations to determine adjustments based on age groups. National Advisory Committee on Immunization made a public announcement regarding the recommendation to suspend administration of AstraZeneca COVID-19 under 55 years of age. Reports include rare cases of serious blood clots following the use of AstraZeneca vaccine in Europe, which have been primarily in women under the age of 55. The signal is linked to the development of antibodies that activate platelets, resulting in the formation of clots. Additional findings are still to be confirmed by the European Medicines Agency. This rare condition reportedly happens in approximately 1 in 1 million vaccinated. According to Dr. Bonnie Henry, this rare condition is serious and could lead to serious outcomes. Anyone receiving the vaccine must be informed according to NACI of the potential adverse event and advised to seek immediate medical attention if they develop symptoms of thromboembolism, such as shortness of breath, chest pain, leg swelling, persistent abdominal pain, headaches, blurred vision, and skin bruising. Alternatively, more doses of Pfizer and Moderna are expected to arrive in a number of weeks. In Vancouver, Kathleen Cruz, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
British Columbia records its highest single-day record of COVID-19 cases. Eagle News correspondent Vanessa Conti tells us more.
On Wednesday, BC recorded the highest single-day number of new cases of COVID-19 to date. There was 1,013 confirmed cases and 3 more deaths. Also, the rolling 7-day period is at the highest point it has ever been. As this is a long weekend, Dr. Bonnie Henry and Adrian Diggs have stated, help us to push our curve back down again. Do this by staying small, staying outside, and staying with your same group of close contacts. This is what will get us closer to putting COVID-19 behind us. With the new variants, Dr. Bonnie Henry has also stated,
but there's no focal super spreading event that's related to these. What we're finding is there's small chains of transmission in multiple areas that aren't linked. So it is community spread, and that's why it's so important that we take the actions that we did in and around Whistler to try and reduce those opportunities for spread. And we are supporting people to self-isolate if they're in group accommodations, for example, to isolate safely. We have places to support people to do that. So the same measures that we take that for COVID all along work for the variants. We just have to do them more carefully, and that's more important than ever this weekend.
The province's health officials also announced new restrictions to stop the increase of COVID-19 infections, such as restrictions from serving food and beverages indoors to customers. The well-known ski resort Whistler has also been ordered to close. These restrictions are in place up until April 19. In Victoria, BC, Vanessa Condi, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Canada and the U.S. joined together to fight climate change. Eagle News correspondent Jeanette Duazo with more details.
On February 23, 2021, President Biden and Prime Minister Trudeau announced the roadmap to a renewed U.S.-Canada partnership that states the following. It is in the shared interest of the United States and Canada to revitalize and expand our historic alliance and steadfast friendship to overcome the daunting challenges of today and realize the full potential of the relationship into the future. The roadmap for a renewed U.S.-Canada partnership establishes a blueprint for an ambitious and whole-of-government effort against the COVID-19 pandemic and in support of our mutual prosperity. It creates a partnership on climate change, advances global health security, bolster cooperation and defense and security, and it reaffirms a shared commitment to diversity, equity, and justice. Bound by history and geography, the partnership between the United States and Canada endures because we invest in each other's success. In support of the partnership, Canada's Department of Environment and Climate Change and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency issued a joint statement to recommit to elaborate in building on the long-standing environmental agreements on air quality, waste management, and water quality. This echoes the express commitment of the President and Prime Minister to a strengthened implementation of the Paris Agreement and to increase the scale and speed of action to address the climate crisis and to better protect the environment based on science and evidence. In partnership with the private and public sectors, Developing and deploying cutting-edge climate technologies will support the shared economic goals towards a sustainable and inclusive economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic for the benefit of the citizens on both sides of the border. The U.S. and Canada pledged to honoring and working closely with Indigenous First Nations, Alaskan Native villages, Inuit, and Métis to address and support the needs of Arctic and Northern communities who may already experiencing the observed threat of climate change. Canada and U.S. also intend to work closely with Mexico to put a trilateral cooperation in North America through the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement to address climate change and other environmental priorities. In closing, the Canada and the U.S. joint statement said this: "We are committed to the health of our environment, the strength of our economy, and the well-being of our shared North American communities. We know that the global climate is changing, and we join together to reach for the innovation of tomorrow, building back our economies in a way that promotes employment, sustainability, and equity." In British Columbia, Jeanette Tuaso, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Wearing catcher's mitts, team jerseys, and face masks, fans returned to New York's Yankee Stadium for the first time since October 2019, as the new Major League Baseball season began Thursday.
It feels pretty good. As like a baseball fan or a Yankees fan, any type of fan, it's good to be back in stadium.
The 54,000-seat Yankee Stadium was empty for all of the Bronx Bombers' home games in the shortened 2020 season because of the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed more than 49,000 New Yorkers. The stadium, which remains a vaccination site, is now allowed to operate at 20% capacity as New York eases restriction, meaning almost 11,000 fans were set to watch the game against the Toronto Blue Jays. Fans had to provide proof of either full vaccination or a negative test within the last 72 hours before being allowed entry. Their temperature was also checked at the turnstiles. Once inside, they were seated in pods, 6 feet from each other, and must be wearing masks at all times except when eating or drinking, a key part of America's national pastime.
I got fully vaccinated, so just showing the vaccination card after 14 days is good enough. Otherwise, I know people are getting tested. They're getting the PCR test.
Baseball is as emblematic of summertime in the United States as a trip to the beach or backyard barbecues, with families regularly getting together to watch a ball game. Freshly cut fields across the country echo with the sound of crack of bats on balls during the long sunny days outside. Throughout the morning of opening day, however, steady drizzle fell on the Yankee Stadium. It failed to dampen fan spirits, though.
It's the best day of the year. It's the best day of the year. It's a day I look forward to every single year, and nothing's better. Nothing's better than opening day, even in the rain.
With most major league venues operating at reduced capacity for the 2021 season, President Joe Biden criticized the Texas Ranger for opening its 40,000 capacity arena at 100% on day one. Villeneuve, a retail store manager who drove 2 hours from Philadelphia to see the Yankees, hopes the limited return of fans to the Bronx signals better times and capacity crowds are coming.
Absolutely. This is the first step for me mentally to think that we're getting back to normal. Things are looking good. To any Yankee fans out there who feel like I have, a moment you set foot near it, you're going to feel the exact same thing.
Coming up, in sports, we get updates on the NCAA championships and learn how to make an apple galette. Eagle News Canada continues after this.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know in these interesting times. we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News Canada. I'm Kat Joy from Calgary, Alberta. This season's best college basketball team, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, are aiming to win this year's NCAA championship title undefeated, a feat that hasn't been done since 1976. One former Bulldog is proud, Indiana Pacers' Domantas Sabonis, plus another former Gonzaga player, Washington Wizards' Rui Hachimura, ties a career high in points on Wednesday. Eagle News sports correspondent Tenny Somagi files this report.
The Final Four is underway in Indianapolis, and the Gonzaga Bulldogs are trying to become the first undefeated team to win the NCAA title since the Indiana Hoosiers did it during the 1975-76 season. One former Gonzaga player who is happy with the outcome is all-star forward Domantas Sabonis of the Indiana Pacers.
Super happy for the coaching staff, for everybody, the program. It's been one of the best college basketball programs for a while now, and I'm just happy these last 5-6 years. They've always been up top throughout the season, and especially March Madness, and just they got a lot of guys. They're stacked. They have a lot of depth, and that's dangerous, especially come tournament time. No matter who's in the court, they're playing at 100%. So I think that's the most important part, for the tourney, and just really excited for the team, the program, for the coaches, and I want them to win the whole thing.
Another former Gonzaga player made headlines on Wednesday. Washington Wizards' Rui Hachimura tied a career best of 30 points during the Wizards' loss to the Charlotte Hornets. The Japanese player explains how Russell Westbrook serves as a mentor and role model to him.
He is a great playmaker, and he always give us good opportunities to score, even like a stand a dunker or threes. He just make us make players good. So that's why I think since last year, I think that's the difference for me to make an easy score like a dunk. We started just getting it's 30 games. We just played 30 games, 40 games. And especially me and him, start getting more connection and chemistry. So I think it's gonna help a lot more. I think it's gonna get better more.
Rui's been good. Been crazy, consistently been aggressive. Which has been big for us. And you see the last week or so.
Tune in to Eagle News for more stories and highlights on the NBA throughout the season. In New York, Tenny Somagi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Apple pie, caramel sauce, and vanilla ice cream. Sounds like the perfect combination for a delicious treat. But how can we enjoy this delicious treat in the comfort of our own home? Eagle News correspondent Rachel Lucis teaches us how to make apple galette. Let's take a look.
Hello there! So it's been a year since the pandemic and the lockdown came to us, but despite all of that, we've all come across to learning something new. Some of us got into cooking and baking at the comfort of our very own homes. So today I'm going to be sharing with you one of my favorite foods and one of my favorite recipes that I made my own that I've learned from the previous restaurants that I've worked with. So it's called the apple galette. So the apple galette is basically just an open-faced fruit pie that is topped with vanilla ice cream and caramel sauce. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started! First, you're going to need puff pastry. And for the filling, we need 1 whole apple thinly sliced, lemon juice, a teaspoon of cinnamon powder, and half a cup of sugar. And for the toppings, we need vanilla ice cream. For mine, I chose the Oreo cookies and cream, and we have homemade caramel. To start our filling, we need to put the apples in a hot pan or pot. And then make sure to give it a stir. Add the remaining ingredients, which is the sugar, cinnamon, and a squeeze of lemon juice. Give it all a stir and wait for it to boil and caramelize. At this point, you can now preheat your oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the consistency that we are looking for. For this step, you're going to lay your puff pastry flat, and then you can either roll it into a large round, or you can either do what I did and cut it into small little rounds. And then you're going to place it on a baking sheet. Now it's filling time. You're going to place your filling at the center of your puff pastry. After the filling is done, you're going to fold the sides of your puff pastry to seal down the filling. And now it's egg wash time. Now you do have the option of putting sugar after the egg wash to enhance the flavor of your puff pastry. Bake it at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 30 minutes or until golden brown. Now we're going to top it with ice cream. And now we're going to add our very own homemade caramel. Homemade caramel is fairly easy. You're just going to need sugar, heavy cream, and butter. And you can put it in all sorts of desserts. And now we have our apple galette, topped with ice cream and caramel sauce. Calgary, Canada, Rachel Lucy's Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
That's our program for today. Join us again next week as we bring stories that matter to you. Visit our website at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on Facebook at facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. I am Kat Joy. We live in interesting times.